Hi everybody, this is episode 2, I'm Listening. I'm Carrie Bauckham and I'm a 6th, 7th, and 8th grade special education teacher in the northwest suburbs of Illinois. And today I'm super excited to start the first of a 3-part series talking about using sketchnotes in the classroom with students to enhance their learning and improve our teaching. Now this is a topic that is very near and dear to my heart and I am absolutely ridiculously passionate about. And I'm so super excited to finally get this series going and be able to share my ideas with you. So let's get started. I want to start talking about sketchnoting by sharing this definition from Kevin Thorne. And he defines sketchnoting as a form of visual writing by expressing ideas, concepts, important thoughts in a meaningful flow by listening, processing, and transferring what you hear by sketching either by analog or digital. Now that Kevin Thorne quote really resonates with me. To me, it's almost the perfect definition of what a sketchnote is. The idea of thinking and processing and transferring what we hear into an image and words put together on paper or on digital. It just, to me, it summarizes and explains what sketchnoting is so concisely and perfectly. Now, I did a lot of thinking planning for this first episode, and I'm going to talk about what sketchnoting is for each of the episodes coming up, because I always want to bring it to your mind. I would really love for you to almost rewind this and re-listen to me reading the Kevin Thorne quote again. Close your eyes and imagine what it feels like to take information in, to process it, and then to transfer it into an image. And really feel how that feels so that you can feel the action of doing that, so that you know how it feels for your students when they need to do the same thing. And I also put a lot of thought into how I wanted to talk to sketchnotes about you. And I've heard other people say, why don't you show them a sketchnote? I thought about showing you sketchnotes. If you guys really want to see what a sketchnote is, go ahead and Google sketchnotes. And what you're going to see are the most amazing and most beautiful sketchnotes. And what you will also risk happening is you will be instantly defeated and instantly think, there's no way that I will ever be able to compete with that. I know that because I have had many therapeutic sessions in my brain about trying to get over the fact that I am not one of those artists that stands there and has had tons and tons of experience and maybe even training on how to be a professional sketchnoter. So I decided not to bring those in here. I don't want to squash any of your thoughts or squash any of your ideas that you can do this, because everybody can. Sketchnoting is a skill. It's not a talent. It's a skill. And what I really want you guys to do is keep this pure thought of sketchnoting. So we're listening to information. We're transferring it and we're processing the information, and then we're transferring it to paper or digital. That's sketchnoting. Everything else, there are no rules. And I mean it, you guys. No rules. Sketchnoting to you is what sketchnoting is to you. Sketchnoting to your students is exactly what they need it to be for them. And so as we move forward into this first episode, and each one following this, we're going to talk about the elements of sketchnoting. And I'm going to talk to you about what the definitions of them are, and I'm going to do this with a lot of intent, because once you guys understand what each element can do, you can do endless things with that element, because there are no rules. Use sketchnoting for what it does, and then take it and hack it and twist it and turn it and make it into exactly what you need it to be and what your students need to be. When it comes to sketchnoting in the classroom, let me reverse a little bit. You could go online and look up the elements of sketchnoting, and you could read several different pieces and get several different answers from several different experts in the field. And all of them are right and none of them are wrong, because there are no rules when it comes to sketchnoting. But to me, using sketchnoting in the classroom, getting it in the classroom, getting the kids' hands on it, getting them understanding it, getting them synthesizing the information and connecting images with it and drawing. To me, there are 3 basic skills that students need to learn and master in order to become a sketchnoter in the classroom. And the first thing they need to do is they need to develop their listening skills. The next thing they need to do is develop their organizational skills. And these are things that we call in sketchnoting containers. They're little containers or little drawings that hold information and organize them throughout. It's also color coding. And the last skill, and to me this is the most powerful and impactful skill for students, is icons. And that is taking in the information, connecting it with an image in their head, and then drawing that image on the paper. Wrong color. All right, so our first skill, and this is an essential one, it's the foundation of everything that sketchnoting is built on, and it's our students' ability to listen. And when I talk about listening for sketchnoting, I'm not talking about like following directions or doing what they're told. We want to think of listening as students taking in information that they hear. I also consider it information that they take in when they read. And it's also information that they take in with their eyes. So any information that's going in the brain is listening. So I want you to grab onto that definition and hold on to it. So it's taking in information into the head. We want to make sure we understand the process so that we can develop this skill in the classroom and use it however our students need us to use it. So let's start to think about our students as note takers. So typical note takers take notes. They might be pages long, they might be sentences long, they capture almost every word by word, especially if they're typing. Handwriting's a little bit less. Then we have notes that do a really good job of summarizing or just detailing the facts. And that's really where we want to get our students going towards, is moving towards trying to capture every idea into summarizing it or picking out just the important facts. And then ultimately, we want to get our students to micro-summarize or be able to pick out the right words, the right ideas, just the right point that's going to connect what they're learning to the sketch note and really capture it in a small amount of words, but still in a really meaningful way. So let's use Kevin Thorne's quote and take it from a note taker's perspective. If I was sitting in class and I heard Kevin Thorne's quote, I would write down the entire thing. Because that's how traditional note taking is. Get as much as you can, write as much as you can, type as much as you can. So this is what I think of as notes. Now let's talk about the idea of summarizing or capturing facts. So we have Kevin Thorne's quote again, and if I was taking notes from the perspective as I wanted to summarize this, or I wanted to capture basic facts, I would have words or information like it's a form of visual writing. It's thoughts in a meaningful flow by listening, processing, and transferring. So I'd have less words, but I would still have a lot, right? So we're still trying to condense things, condense our thinking, get them to shorten up the information that they're taking in to a summarize, to a main idea, or to simple facts. And then finally we have micro-summarizing. So what are the really big ideas that are meaningful to me in this quote? And when you look at this quote, your micro-summarizing might be different than my micro-summarizing, and each student might capture different things. But we want to capture the idea, synthesize the information, and pick out just the right amount of information that's going to capture the ideas and still communicate that to us in our sketch note. So for me, micro sketchnoting would be listening, processing, and transferring. And then I would also say information. And I would add that in there. And that to me is taking this big quote into 3 to 4 words, and that is micro-summarizing, really condensing it into a smaller piece of information. All right, so now I've talked about listening, right? Taking in information with our ears, taking in information with our eyes, or reading information. and that our goal is for our students to be able to take this information in and take a lot of it and condense it into a small amount of words. Really synthesizing it, finding the big idea, finding the important facts, or really learning how to summarize really well. And for some kiddos, they're going to be really good at this. And so the listening skills, retraining them from writing down everything to writing down just a little bit, is going to come really easy to them. And for other students, like for my students, this is a process we go through over and over and over and over again until they are master listeners and they know exactly how to pick out those important facts and summarize a lot of information into a few words. So next, I want to share with you guys some ideas for how you can implement this in your classroom. So let's talk about how we can practice listening skills or work on developing these summarizing or these micro summarizing skills with our students. And I've got 3 ideas for you here. And this is always a learning process for me. Something every year comes up. I can't wait to hear if you guys have more ideas. But what we need to do is retrain our students' brains from taking in a lot of information and try to get it all down to just getting the really important facts down. So the first thing I did this year with my kiddos is they needed to learn how to just take notes. So we used a shared doc, and all the students took notes on a video that we were watching. And I used the video on purpose because I didn't want to have to focus on reading, and I wanted the students to focus on hearing the facts. And so they typed just one fact per line. And then what I had them do was cut up the paper fact by fact. And so by telling them that they could only put one fact per line, I was structuring their note-taking approach and restricting them to how much information they could put on the notes, and also teaching them how to work on summarizing. Another idea that I use for working on summarizing or listening skills with my students is Post-it notes and note cards. They make great, I guess I only have 2 ideas. They make great tools for teaching note-taking and teaching summarizing with students. Because of the space that's available to them, I tell them 1 idea per note card, 1 idea per Post-it note. So you're instantly retraining them and forcing them to limit how many ideas or how many words they put on a single space. And these Post-it notes and note cards we'll talk about in the future because they also make great containers. And then they also have space for icons, which we're going to talk about in episode 2 and 3. So that's it for today. I'm super excited to hear if any of you guys try these ideas in your classroom. I'm also super excited to just keep building my idea library. So if any of you guys have any other ideas or tips or tricks for how you teach students how to take in information and summarize it, or just attach or connect with the ideas, I would love to hear them. I'd love to hear them, add them to my library of ideas. I would also love it if you guys would go ahead and outline that subscribe button so that you won't miss a notification of when I post another video. And if you like this video, go ahead and color in that thumbs up. I'm just super excited to be back here again. I can't wait for episode 3 and 4 where we talk about organizers, containers, and color coding. And then the next episode where we'll talk about, or the episode after that, where we'll talk about icons, and that's going to be super fun. So until next time, guys, have a great day, and remember, when we're sketchnoting, there are no rules.